Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben, and in this episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions BBQ Podcast, we're continuing our conversations with the most influential women in barbecue with the sheriff of barbecue in Western Australia, Julianne Tindall-Davies.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions BBQ Podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
Jules, it's great to see you again. How you going?
Yeah, good, Ben. Thank you. And yourself?
Really good, really good. I've been enjoying the long weekend. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. The weather's beautiful here. And the long weekend's a long-awaited bit of time off, which is terrific.
Yeah, I don't know that the people like you and I, we really know how to do time off though, because here we are, we're doing a podcast talking about barbecue on our during the middle of our long weekend.
Oh, you're sounding like a robot, so I'm not quite understanding your questions. I apologise. Don't know whether it's your end or my end. But yeah, this weekend we have been cooking the rolled roast for the kids, and we had some friends over. So yeah, we threw the rolled roast into the Black Beauty and some veggies, rubbed with the atomic chicken, which we've just acquired from Scott Common, and yeah, so that was very yummy. The girls loved it, and so did everybody else.
So did you put the chicken rub on the pork, or did the chicken rub go onto the vegetables?
No, I put the chicken. I put the pork. Glenn just did a simple salt and dry salt rub overnight on the pork, and I decided to play with these atomic chicken rubs, and I put the pork across the veggies as well as their chip salt, which is really good, really good.
It is, yeah. I've actually stopped asking for chicken salt down at the shop now, and I just get my hot chips from the shop and I bring them home and I put some of that some of Scott Coleman seasoning on it. It's so good.
Yeah, very nice. I don't think the girls will have their spuds any other way now.
Yeah, yeah. So did that pork roast crackle up nicely in your Black Beauty there?
It did. Yeah, very nicely. So yes, everyone enjoyed that. So yeah, it's always nice to get a good result on the pork crackle. Otherwise, it always seems a bit of a disappointment. Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about getting a leg of pork, isn't it? It's got to have that crackle. If it doesn't have crackle, then it's just a piece of meat. Yeah,
well, this is right. Nice and juicy piece of meat, but there's always that disappointment, slight disappointment.
Yeah. Well, look, it looks absolutely fantastic. So is that like a regular Sunday thing at your house to do a roast dinner, or was this a special thing you did for Easter?
Just a special thing we did for Easter, something different. I've been cooking a lot of barbecue lately, so lots of briskets, lots of pulled pork and whatever else have you. So it was nice for Glenn to take over the meat for a change, and I stuck with the veggies this weekend. So yeah, we tend to be having the Saturday or Sunday roast more regularly at the moment, which is nice. Yeah, nice, quick, easy, and super tasty.
I was just talking about how that's the beauty of the designs of your Black Beauty and Stretch barbecue, is that they can do the low and slow barbecue temperatures, but they can also do the higher temperatures of the for the roast dinners and that sort of thing to get that crackle on that pork.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the as you say, that's the beauty of them. And as I've said to others before, I really find no reason or desire to inside with the methods that the Black Beauty or the Stretch can do. The only thing I might put on the kitchen top is quick boiled veggies, dare I say it. But yeah, roast is definitely the way to go, and nice, yeah. So yeah, that is the beauty. And we had a couple drop in yesterday, and we sort of asked them what their purpose was in looking at the Black Beauty, and theirs was mainly pizzas. So everyone has a different reason for purchasing them, which is, a lot for low and slow, but this particular couple wanted wood-fired pizzas, and just to be able to open her up and sit and enjoy the outdoor heat. You could feel the heat, coming off her quite nicely standing back there, which is really good. So, yeah, it suits everyone for a different purpose, I guess, and that's the versatility. Yeah.
It does, yeah. So we recently, just sort of segueing on from that, we recently held the ABA Rub and Sauce Judging Awards here at Smoking Hot Confessions, and a lot of the guys were super keen to have some JAGRD Woodfired pizzas afterwards. But unfortunately, that weekend was when all the flooding hit Queensland here, and half our judges got flooded in and couldn't come. So we ended up with just exactly the right number of people that we needed, and so everybody had to eat twice as much. And so by the end of the day, I like sitting down and cooking a bunch of pizzas was the last thing on anybody's mind, because we'd just been eating all day. So I'm gonna have to save that for next year. But yeah, wood-fired pizzas in the JAGRD is a favourite here at Smoking Hot Confessions.
Yes, absolutely. I did see your video on that, and the rain pelting down, but she was still outside underneath it, which is, and she would have run hot too. But yeah, I saw that video with the barbecue sauces. That was an awesome way to judge.
It was. And while we're talking about that, congratulations on picking up runner-up for Pit Builder of the Year in this year's ABA Awards. That's a huge achievement.
Oh, that is it, and thank you very much, and to everyone who voted for JAGRD. That was just phenomenal. To be up against the caliber of pit builders that we were, everyone unique in their own right. That's a huge accolade for us, and one we really were really hoping for, and to come runner up is just amazing, and it gives Glenn the encouragement and the boost that he needs. And when you really look back on all the pits that he's built, there's so many different designs, and as I said, everyone has a different purpose for what or reason for what they want to barbecue, and he just seems to meet that every time, which is wonderful.
He does, yeah. Now I've actually heard rumours of a new design that you guys are working on at the moment. What can you tell us about that, or is that still under wraps?
It is still on the ropes. It's just in its final testing, where so there will be one or two out there and about there very soon. So I'm sure Glenn won't mind me mentioning, as it's it's a go. It's basically it's a gravity fed again, but it's a reverse flow gravity fed. So as opposed to how they're designed now, with the heat source coming directly into the pit and basically up and around, this one will go up a flue, come in up a flue, be drawn back down to the outlet, so you get that more even, easy, more even heat across your pit, which would be wonderful. And you don't have that sort of fear of that hot spot, because at the moment the cabinets, obviously, they do have deflectors on them to alleviate the flames coming in and burning a certain edge, but it's always a possibility, whereas this alleviates any hot spots at all, which will be amazing. I'm just disappointed I can't work the first one, so to speak. I get the prototype again, which is the first one. So yeah, I'm very excited to be giving that a run.
Alrighty, so we were just talking about the brand new design that you've got coming out, and it's a reverse flow gravity fed cabinet, which is looking like it's not going to have any hotspots or anything, which should be a fantastic revolution in terms of low and slow barbecue.
Yes, absolutely. So, and it'll be much easier to control and work too, because Glenn's actually setting up an automatic air inlet valve So you basically, it's like a fireboard or a smart fire. It'll have one of those boards on it. So you can set it to the temperature that you want, and it will automatically adjust for you.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
What's that, a PID controller, or are you actually like using the smart fire?
No, it's a PID. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, working with a fellow to build the components and everything with us, a local fellow here, and so it'll all be automatic. So think of like a truck engine, air valve, whatever you want to call it. But an automatic air valve, so it will adjust up and down to the temperature that you set.
Sounds like a commercial dream.
Yeah. So no fan, so nothing can go wrong with the fan as such. It's just the air will control it, which will
that's
be
interesting.
amazing. Yeah. Yes.
Not even a fan in it. Very cool.
No fan. No.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, the gravities work beautifully without a fan themselves. The only reason I'll pop a fan on there is if I'm overnight, I want to do a cook, and I want to go home basically, or go to bed, and that will allow me to watch the temperature as I go. And if I see my meat, moving too quickly, I'll just turn it down, which is hopefully what you're going to be able to do with this gravity fed of reverse flow gravity of Glen's too, but without the fan as such.
Yeah, right. So is Glenn going to be setting it all up electronically so that you can control it from your phone and you can put the temps up and down from an app?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Wow.
That's the plan. Yes. Yeah. So I really think it's the first of its kind. A reverse flow gravity fed that's automatically controlled, or app controlled. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, and I've actually heard rumours around that you've already pre-sold the first unit. I think it's coming over here to Queensland, isn't it?
Oh, it very well may be. Yes, if there's a Luke over in Queensland, very, very possibly.
Okay.
But that's just one word. Yes. So, and there's another here in Perth that won't be too far behind. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm super, super keen.
Yes. So I think Glen's plan is to eventually phase out the gravity cabinets that we currently have, like the baby and that here, and all his gravity units will be of that caliber.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the new ones are going to be superseding the older ones?
Quite possibly. I guess it all depends on, cost of the difference. I mean, there's quite a bit more with the electronics and fluing and all those sorts of designs, the design. So it'll be interesting to see how everything comes together at the end of the day. But yeah.
Well, tell him that what I want to see next is his Asado grills with a similar PID controller, but instead of up and down temperature, it's going to lift and raise the cooking grill over the fire, and you can run that from a phone app.
Oh dear. Yes. Well, what more could we do? Or not do when it comes to barbecue? Yeah.
Well, he could build a remote control base into the bottom of it, so you can just sit there with a controller and it just drives itself up onto the back of the truck or something. That would be cool too.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yes, that would be very handy for even himself. At the moment, we load everything or winch everything in when we got comps and that sort of stuff into the back of a horse trailer, which is quite handy, not having to disassemble the Black Beauty, especially with the weight. But yeah, to have an automatic up the ramp, away she goes, would be awesome.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Very cool. Now, in addition to coming runner-up in that ABA award, you've actually also come up with a first place in another award as well, didn't you? In the same week.
Yes. Just before the ABA awards were announced, we were notified that we'd taken out first place in Best Innovative Design. Outdoor innovative design, which was absolutely wonderful for Glenn to receive, because his innovation is just crazy. I don't know how he does it half the time. And the second one was we got first in outdoor cooking brand. So that was a bit of a pat on the back for both of us, really. Glenn in his design and myself in the marketing, I guess. Yeah. So that's huge. So yeah, to have those within a week of each other is just crazy.
Yeah, it's been a huge week. Look, double congratulations, because I didn't actually realise that there was a second award. I just thought that was the innovation award, but to pick up the branding award as well that's so good.
Yeah, yes, it's and I guess the JAGRD brand's been out there, it's going on 14 years now. So to know that's been recognised, and even especially with the ABA, with the JAGRD, it's huge, absolutely huge.
That's almost got to make JAGRD one of the longest running barbecue smoker manufacturing companies in the country, wouldn't it? 14 years.
Maybe. Yeah, I think we had actually 2010, so I've probably exaggerated a little, maybe 12 years.
Okay.
12 going on 13 years, yeah.
So you might be second only to Silver Creek Smokers then, as far as I know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nice. So we've, just to be slowly building up that reputation and that name over those years, and to have that recognised. With the APAC award, it was basically someone had nominated us. We had no idea. So for someone to think that, we could take those awards out, which was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Cassie Strohmeyer over on Facebook has just said, let's go international now for awards.
Yeah, let's go, girl. Absolutely. Glenn and our dream is to go back over to the States and just comp hop, because they just have comps, from week to week and town to town, and to get a bus and just go from comp to comp, that would be awesome.
It would be, yeah.
National.
Well, they have, they've got so many people, I guess, and the country's so big. They've got, several barbecue competitions happening every weekend. And I've chatted to a couple of people who will actually, they'll roll in and they'll do a Friday, Saturday comp, and they'll pack up on Saturday afternoon. They'll drive 300, 400 kilometres to the next town, and they'll do another comp on Saturday, Sunday, and they'll do two long form contests in a weekend.
Yeah, well, that's dedication. But that would definitely be a trip. Yeah, definitely be a trip. Yeah. Well, we just don't have the population or the teams here, sadly. Yes. I think here in Perth, the teams over the eastern states are huge. The numbers that the ABA bring in for their competitions. But I think the most we've had here in Perth is around about 30 at the BA BBQ. And there are a lot of new teams, which is great. I've quite a few teams that had stepped out for a time and come back in. Jace does great in pulling the teams in for the BBQ for sure. Yeah. But I'd say, at any one time.
Yeah, they do a great job, those lads. Listen, we're just going to take a real short break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hey folks, I just want to take a quick minute to remind you about BarbieCon. It's coming up on July 30, 31, and we're covering both cooks and business owners. So it's a live virtual summit, or a virtual conference if you like, and the Saturday's dedicated to all about cooking barbecue, and the Sunday's dedicated to all about barbecue businesses. And what we're doing, we're bringing the best of the best live into your lounge rooms to help you save money, save time, and become the envy of your friends and family. So what I've got for you today is our first presenter announcement. So the first presenter off the bat is Jules from JAGRD. You've seen her on the show before. She's a great friend of the show. She's absolutely outstanding in the barbecue world. And she's the 2020 KCBS International Brisket, it was Team of the Year, but I guess that'll make her Pitmaster of the Year for brisket. So she's going to be giving us a live brisket demonstration. That's going to be super cool. The next one to tell you about is Adriano Andrade, the man behind BRZ Foods. He's a Brazilian-born Australian pitmaster who loves to combine all the different Brazilian flavors with the low and slow style of cooking. So he's going to be telling us everything we need to know about picanha. The next presenter to tell you about is Chris Davey from the Smokin Hot Bros. Based out of Brisbane, they're a top-performing team, frequent top 10s, many trophies, masterclasses, designing rubs, designing and building smokers. I mean, you name it, Chris does it. And he's going to be joining us for BarbieCon, and he's going to be teaching us how the bros do their pork ribs. So if you're looking into some serious pork rib upgrades, you're going to want to catch his demonstration. And the first of the business presenters announcements, we've got the one and only Aaron Palmer, YouTube sensation, absolutely killing it over there. I believe he's now gone full-time YouTube content creation. So if you're looking to promote your business through video and different video platforms, Aaron's your guy. Everything he knows he's going to be telling us and sharing with us on the Sunday for those business presentations. Our next business presenter is, of course, Andrew Don Patterson from Black Iron Smokers. Now, they recently won the Barbecue Catering Operation of the Year Awards at the annual ABA Awards just at Meatstock Toowoomba a few months back, and he's going to be telling us the secrets to success for running a barbecue catering operation. So we've all had that idea in our minds. It's very tempting to get in there, to free yourself of the 9 to 5 and get into a barbecue business. So he's going to be there to tell us how to do it. And the last one for this announcement, but of course not the last one for the weekend, we've got Rob and Randy Thraves. Now, if you know anything about barbecue in Australia, you'll know these names. These guys are absolutely everywhere. They are international competitors. They're multiple trophy winning, I believe a couple of grand champions as well. They've got barbecue trailers, barbecue trucks, multiple barbecue joints. They do the Smokin barbecue competitions and a couple of others as well. And they're going to be giving us a presentation on planning and executing business growth strategies. So if you're running a business and you want to grow it, you want to expand it, and let's face it, that's what we all want to do with our barbecue businesses, you absolutely have to catch this presentation. So that's just a few of the presenters that we've already got lined up for BarbieCon. We've got about 16 in total, so that's just a taster. Make sure you tune in again next week for the next round, and keep an eye on the socials and, of course, the SmokingHotConfessions.com website, where we've got a ton of more BarbieCon information there for you as well. See you soon.
Got a project you'd like to work on with the SHC team? Shoot Ben an email on ben@SmokingHotConfessions.com and let's have a conversation.
So, Jules, you've been on the show a couple of times now, and we've talked about all the different things that you do. You're a well-awarded competitor. I can see all the various trophies up on the shelf there behind you, looking very shiny there. You were 2020 KCBS International Brisket Team of the Year. You've represented the country. You're building smokers that are getting recognised all around the country in various organisations for design awards and building awards. But as if that's not enough, you've now decided that you're going to jump in and you're going to take on event promotion as well. So I've got a little photo here of a very emotional moment for you. I can see that there. It's Stefan from the Smokin Charity Competitions, and he's handing you the sheriff's hat. Can you tell us a bit about how all that happened?
Yeah, that was a huge moment for both Stefan and I. Stefan's been running the Smokin Charity BBQ competitions since 2014. I think he had his first competition here in Perth. I think then it was called the Tong Master competition, so it was brisket, and he, funnily enough, he won that, and he has been promoting barbecue competitions ever since here, but he's also conjoined with Mondo Community Warriors. Now, Mondo Community Warriors is a charity organisation that raises funds through food. And Stefan, back in, I think, 15, 16, started introducing and standing beside Mondo Community Warriors in the barbecue competition scene, where it raised money for Lifeline, so which is a very important cause for many, and many for many. So Stefan, I guess, over time had become a little tired, and there's a lot to organise, and being, the one man, so to speak, many people, volunteers beside him, but really he would organise all the competitions. I jumped on board with him in 2018 or 19 and helped him organise Smoke on the Water here, which was thankfully, you yourself, Ben, came and joined us that year in Bayswater, and Mo Kaysen was here also with the BE18. So that was a huge success, and I just love, barbecue in the community is about sharing, is about caring, and what better way to raise funds than have people come and get a taste of barbecue, which they can't do in many places, sort of freely. But what they do here is they buy a $5 ticket, which those funds go to Lifeline WA, and then the public can then go and choose a team of their liking. And most teams cook above and beyond what they're turning in, those 4 proteins, to serve the public. And yeah, it's a great way to raise funds. So Stefan was getting tired, long story short, and it was just going to go by the wayside. No one was looking at carrying it on for him. And I just, there's just such, the public has just supported the concept for years, and Stefan's dream, and I just couldn't see charity going away from barbecue. Barbecue in the community is what it's all about. And if we can help raise funds for charity, as well as cook and share and whatever else have you, I was honoured to pick that opportunity up. So that was him handing over his hat to me as sheriff of the Smokin team. And I think we held our first comp about a month ago, introducing a new KCBS concept of the one meat contest here. So yeah, that's what that was all about.
Yeah, I've got that as well here. That was pork in the valley. Yeah. So Swan Valley's been Swan Settlers Market have been a great advocate for the charity side of barbecue for the last few years too. Normally it is Smokin in the Valley in October, end of October, usually the Halloween weekend. We run a competition regularly every year there. And this year they really wanted a few smaller competitions leading up to that. And so they jumped on board at the last minute because our previous venue was sadly cancelled till next year due to all this nonsense. And so Swan Settlers picked up the first KCBS One Meat contest here last month. So that was really exciting to see
that being played out with teams instead of doing the 4 meats. Yeah.
So was that just one cut of pork, or did you have different pork hand-ins?
Well, the 1 meat contest is just as it sounds, is 1 meat. So the original protein chosen for that contest was pork, and there was a little bit of a learning curve. And with the 1 meat contest, you can hold 2 in one day, but they must be 1 hour apart before the turn in. So we decided to add, giving the teams all day basically, or most of a better chance of cooking both proteins. We also introduced pork ribs. So the first turn in at 12 o'clock on the Sunday was pork ribs at 12 o'clock, and then an hour later they had their pork. Whether that was pulled, whether that was just the money muscle, however they chose to turn that in. So that gave them a little bit of extra time. So there's 2 1 meat competitions held in the one day. Yeah.
Yeah. And now my understanding of this is that even though it's not a full KCBS comps, those scores do still count for that protein team of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah. Absolutely it does. And how cool is that? I mean,
that's
you go
really cool.
Yeah. Although, I mean, it's a great way that the KCBS is rewarding top teams or those professional teams that are, maybe lagging a little bit in a particular protein, and they can jump onto these 1 meat contests and bump those scores up astronomically if they wish, because not everyone is going to go out of their way for 1 meat. It's a big day, regardless. We've still got to set up and all those sorts of things. So this particular comp had 14 teams. So they were out of those 14. Excuse me. Out of those 14, there was only 2 top teams that played. Yeah. So it gave those teams that have only competed once or twice the opportunity to, put themselves against these top teams and get a higher score in those proteins for those that, may have missed out. So it's a great incentive to up your scores.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I would imagine that it would also be a little less intimidating for people who are contemplating getting into competition barbecue. So something like that, you'd probably see a lot more new teams come in. And so then when you did put on a full KCBS comp, you'd have a fuller complement.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the idea, is to encourage, new teams without the pressure of 4 proteins, and especially brisket, because that can always be a bit daunting, on a long overnight cook. Whereas the 1 meat, they come in the morning or early. We bump teams in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and their meat inspection was at 6, and team meeting at 6:30. They were obviously come 6 a.m. they were able to go off and cook and just have one team represent at the team meeting. So it's a race really, and it's a good challenge. A couple of teams, one team in particular, they chose to only enter one of the meat contests. They wanted to practice their pork. So they put aside the pork ribs and just concentrated on their pork. So, you don't have to, being 2 in one day, you don't have to do both. But, use it as practice, use it to up your scores, use it to introduce new teams, get to know new teams, help new teams. It was a great relaxed atmosphere to do all that. And we raised some funds for Lifeline at the same time, because all the Smokin comps centre around raising funds for charity. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good, yeah. So how many comps a year does Smokin Charity usually do? Or host? How many do they put on?
Yeah, Smokin Charity themselves. Well, this year we've been given the opportunity to do a few more that are yet to be announced. But generally, we probably do two. Or, there was usually around this time it was smoking in the city. But the logistics of, smoking barbecues in the city these days is made it a little bit more difficult. So it's venues like Swan Settlers we're hugely grateful and thankful for that we can introduce more competitions. So next week I'm in a meeting to have a full Masters in June. And so that's an additional competition, and also there will be another full Masters in August. These are both yet to be announced or have now been announced.
There you go, yeah. And as well as those two Masters, how many, are you planning on doing any more of these single meats? Are we going to see a single meat beef, a single meat seafood? Oh, well, not seafood in KCBS, but not even lamb.
Yeah.
Chicken.
I'd love to. Yeah, well, there's chicken and there's brisket. So, I mean, we all do, a lot of teams do hot and fast these days, so there's no reason why we can't introduce brisket also as a one meat contest. So, as again, that's half the challenge of competing, but we'd obviously have to, look at bump-in times to accommodate those that are a little tentative. But yeah, hopefully with the one meat competitions, it allows more smaller venues to come in and participate and open their doors for barbecue comps to come in and introduce it to the locals and that sort of thing. The smaller pubs, I'd love to take a one meat comp into there and have the local chef compete for one meat competition. It's not that hard. And, get the locals putting a team together for that one meet, or the mates competing against each other. So I think the one meet comps will open the door for smaller venues. We're yet to confirm any of those, though, this year.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly looking forward to those announcements coming out. Now, I think it's fair to say that the Smokin Charity comps between the Masters comps and the single meat comps are kind of the driving force between, or at least that's the impression I get from here, is that they're kind of the driving force behind the barbecue scene over in WA. Would that be a like, without tooting your own horn, would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. For me personally, I love competing. I love it. And I've stepped down this year to concentrate on getting more competitions out there through the Smokin team. And Glenn stepped up this year, so he's competing. But yeah, it's definitely my driving force is, to have more barbecue competitions and to get more people into it and to share it and that sort of thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for the WA barbecue scene to sort of to grow a lot more, and I really think that a lot of the initiatives that you're putting into place with your work with Smokin Charity, there's a lot of potential there as well. Because I mean, you've got the BEA guys, as you were mentioning before, Justin and his team, and they've got their the name's escaping me right now. It's connected to the Norco competition in California.
That's right. Brewing Q.
Brewing Q, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
So they've got that one. They were doing a backyard series, but I think that's been discontinued. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure at this stage. I'm sure Jace would love to keep picking it up, but he's also busy with his own business, so time is the essence sometimes. But I guess that's where the one meat comps and the backyard comps are very similar, where they can introduce those smaller teams, those teams that are thinking about coming in and that sort of thing. We also have the Chidlow Barbecue Festival. Fran and Norm here that run 2 competitions a year. So I guess WA altogether including the 1 meet comps, we've probably got about, 6, 7, maybe 8 comps, KCBS comps a year, which is terrific. Huge.
It is, yeah. And is there also Spit in the Hills, or is that the second Chidlow one?
That's a second Chidlow one. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the end of this month, we've got Spit in the Hills. So the auxiliary for that one is something on the spit, hence Glenn practicing his rolled roast on the spit yesterday. So that is at the end of this month, April 30th to May 1st. So that's the first Chidlow, and then they have their second barbecue festival in September, the month before the smoking in the valley. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, in that case, I withdraw what I said I want Glenn's next design to be. Now I want it to be a spit that's controlled by a PID design where he can turn the speed of the crank up and down from his phone.
Yeah. Oh God, rocket ship.
Yeah. Now you mentioned before that you've stepped down as a competitor to sort of to move more into the event promotions thing, and Glenn is going to be taking over the JAGRD competitive team. Have you got into his phone? Have you like hacked his phone and set a bunch of alarms for competitions and recorded your own voice so that like at 5:45 his phone just starts going, Glenn, trim the ribs. Glenn, trim the ribs.
Yeah, time to glaze. He's actually stepped away from the Smokin Hot Jagged Edge.
Oh.
Yes. He's running with his own Barking Gecko team.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
Yes. So he's competed once already with Barking Gecko, and this will be his second comp this year. Because I think he was at the Brewing Q in December. So yes, he's got his own ideas. He's got his own tastes and flavors, and that's a whole conversation. But let's just say Glenn's got his own ideas.
Well, then here's what I want to see. I want to see a Glenn versus Jules cook-off event.
Yeah, I want to see that too. Maybe next year we'll both compete and see who lands. That would be cool. That would be cool.
Very cool, yeah. Very nice. All right, well, look, we're just going to take a short break and we'll be back again in just a moment. Hey folks, winter is just around the corner, unless of course you're from far north Queensland and it's time for you to start, throwing out your singlets and start pulling on your wintertime t-shirts. Whatever it is, we got you covered either way. So if you're down south and you need hoodies and beanies, we got you. If you're up north, like I said, you need that thick winter t-shirt, we got you covered for that as well. It's over on our website, smokinghotconfessions.com/shop. And we've even got these beautiful tumblers that you've seen Jules and I both having a couple of sips out of today. They keep the hot drinks hot and the cold drinks cold. So even though it's the middle of the night and you're out there stoking the fires, there's no need to be cold. And you'll also look great with our Hail Mary design, awarded NBBQA's 2020 Barbecue Apparel of the Year design. So head on over there, check them out. It all helps the show. Every little bit helps us to keep the lights on, keep the show running, and do more of these beautiful podcasts that we love to do. So head on over there, check it out, smokinghotconfessions.com/shop.
You're listening to the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with massive barbecue nerd Ben Arnott.
Alrighty, Jules, we are back now, and just while I've been doing my little blurb about our merch shop, Bree's been commenting in the comments here. She says that it would be amazing to see a Jules versus Glenn cook-off. So we've been talking about getting you over here to the East Coast to do some competition classes. We might be able to get Glenn to come along, and then we could do like a class on a Sunday, and then a Jules versus Glenn cook-off and live stream it on the Sunday or something like that.
How cool would that be? Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be very fun.
It would be fun. Yes, no, we'd love to come over there. I know Glenn's visited you over there, and I'd love to come over myself and meet Bree and Evan. And, definitely.
Yeah, well, it'd be about a year ago that Glenn was last over here, I think.
It'd be close, I think. Yeah.
I think it was actually in July because I took him to the Smoke Fest barbecue competition in Mudgeeraba. So it would have been July.
That's right. That's coming around quick enough. It's May next month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We are almost there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, as you're aware, the third segment of the show is the part where our guest gives a little lesson to our viewers and our listeners. So we've had you talking about brisket before and some other things. So I'm going to throw it over to you now. It could be how to cook something. It could be tips for putting on a great event. Whatever you feel that you could share with our viewers and listeners.
I guess my tips and everything is not far past what everyone already really knows. But the thing I find is the tip is just to relax. Just relax with barbecue. Trust your own instincts when it comes to meats and things like that. And over the years, I've learnt through following barbecue pages, whether it's the Smokin Hot Confessions, it's the Barbecue Club page, or the ABA. Don't be afraid to get on YouTube. Please don't believe everything you see on YouTube, but there's some great tips you can get there. And just enjoy barbecue and sharing it. As I said to someone the other day, it's not only the love of meat that keeps us in barbecue, it's the love of people. And the love of seeing that smile on their face when you've presented them or they've eaten something that you've cooked. You might not think it's so good, but, enjoy the fact that everyone else does enjoy it. And brisket, again, just don't be afraid to push it. And again, trust your instincts and wait. Barbecue is a very patient game, and don't be impatient, and just enjoy the atmosphere of barbecue and those around you, and invite others in to share it. So, but as I said, that's where I think we all in the barbecue community strive for that, and that's where I'm always at to share.
Yeah, now that's quite a delicate balance there, because I mean you're a top level performing competitive team, but you're also always really relaxed and friendly anytime someone comes around. Like how do you strike that balance? Is there a particular, do you guys go through a routine? Is there do you burn sage around the comp site? Like what is it that you do that enables you to stay at the top of the game but also still be really relaxed and friendly and approachable?
I guess it's knowing your meat. I've cooked a lot of brisket, as many have, and I guess it's just it's not being afraid of it. And there are times when you can let it go a little further than what it does. So if you do get that distraction, don't stress. Your temps may fluctuate a little bit, but my temps can fluctuate between 275 and 325. So there's a 50-degree variant there. And I personally don't think that there is a great it doesn't affect your meat or the end of your cook at the end of the day. Regardless, I always say at the end of the day, it's your feel. You're going to feel that meat. That's what you're looking for. And brisket can be quite forgiving when you know it, I guess. And I guess that's just, just loving your meat and knowing your pit. And, just relax around barbecue and it'll work for you.
Yeah. When you say that you can judge the brisket by feel, are you referring to like the toothpick test?
Yeah. I only ever use a toothpick. I was showing someone the other day how to get, well, you can't really, someone's got to get that feel for themselves, but you can give them a general idea. This is what I feel. It's ready. And I was using the thermo pen. Now, to me personally, a metal object going into something hot is going to feel more tender as opposed to a toothpick that's got a little bit more resistance. So I always use a toothpick to test my briskets. And what I say is, if that you're on taking that toothpick out, if your meat resists or pulls or lifts a little bit as you're trying to remove that toothpick, it's not ready. Give it another half an hour. Check it in again in another half an hour or 45 minutes. But personally, I feel the toothpick feel is my ready. Yeah. And I'm sure many you too.
Yeah, I've never actually considered it before, but yeah, of course the metal probes of the thermopens are really smooth versus the textured surface of the toothpick. I'd never actually sort of thought of that before, but that's a really interesting tip.
Yeah, so it can feel like it's ready with the thermopen because it's getting hotter and smoother through that meat. But you feel it again with your toothpick. You can do both, and you'll feel and you'll lift that meat, and so just be that little bit more patient and wait for that toothpick feel.
Yeah. Now, one thing I've been talking to people a lot about lately is the idea of a pitmaster logbook. Do you keep a logbook of your cooks and write down all your times and feelings and all that sort of stuff?
Like what the?
No, that wasn't what I meant. But I realized as soon as I said it that it was probably the wrong word. No, I meant like your observations. Let's say.
I used to be diligent in the beginning. Went in at this time, I spritzed at that time, I spritzed with, apple cider vinegar, apple juice mix. Mind you, the only thing I would spritz on a brisket is its edges. But, as for pork ribs, but yeah, I used to be very, very diligent, and that I would always write that temperature fluctuation and all that sort of thing. And I guess at the end of the day, doing that for a year or two, I guess you just get it just comes natural after a while, and I don't feel I don't use it anymore. I don't anymore. I do advise those that are starting out to keep a little logbook of their different cooks, different proteins. But personally myself, I'm confident enough not to have to use a logbook. I don't use a logbook anymore. And if I do want to look back at something, I generally attach the fireboard as a temperature ambient, and it's more so the pit that I'm interested in as opposed to the meat. The meat I want to read myself, and the pit I just want to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Interesting. Why do you only spritz the edges on your brisket?
Brisket obviously we want to set that bark, especially on the top, which is beautiful, and it just gives you that, added, I think a nicely set bark just gives you that nice sort of caramelly, smoky flavour. But the edges I only spritz because sometimes that can dry out a little more. The bark or the top always carries quite a bit of moisture in it anyway, especially if you're leaving a little bit of fat on there. But the edges, we're generally trimming off all that fat so it's left open to the heat and the elements or whatever else have you. And I find that if spritz just the edges, sometimes I'll tip. You'll find that the moisture pools on the top of your brisket, so I'll tend to tip that off. So that it continues to create that bark. But the edges, just to keep them soft, because sometimes they can go too dry, and when you're cutting, they'll tear. So just to keep that little bit of extra moisture on your edges, so hopefully they don't dry out too much. And when you are cutting, it's not going to tear as some do. Some will, depending on your hot spots and, where you've got it placed. It depends on where that is. But, yeah, what temperature you're running. But, yeah, I tend to only spritz the edges.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I like that. I've written that one down here on my page. Look, thank you very much. That's probably a good point for us to start to wrap up this episode of the show. So give some thanks, give some praise, to shout out to the people that have helped you out along the way, and tell everybody where they can track down JAGRD.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Ben, for having myself on again, and amongst all the ladies of barbecue. And, big thanks to those ladies that encourage myself in what I do here, and whether it's courses or competing, and being one of the few here in Perth. It's lovely to have the ladies behind myself. Glenn, absolutely. I wouldn't, dragging him off to the first comp. I wouldn't be going again and again if it wasn't for his encouragement. And, it's good to see him come in on his own this year, which will be good. It'll be good to see how he goes. But, Glenn is always, as I pick things up, whether it be the smoking events or whatever else have you, he's always there for advice and to pick me up if I feel like I'm falling down. So, Glenn, absolutely. We've got some lovely friends, some beautiful friends in the barbecue community, Lee and Paul, who are part of the JAGRD team and have been for a few years. They're fantastic. They have my back at every comp. But, Stefan, for trusting me with the smoke and with his dream, and taking over the Smokin Charity BBQ Competitions, his dream there, and keeping those going. That's a huge blessing.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful. And just remind everybody of your website where they can track down some of these fantastic JAGRD smokers.
Yes, our website is up and running, obviously. So it is JAGRD, JAGRD. If you don't know, that stands for Julianne Glenn Richard Davies. JAGRDwoodfired.com.au. And on Insta, it's JAGRD_wood_fired. And obviously, and of course, we're on, we've got a huge, always looking for those to join the community on our Facebook, JAGRD Woodfired, and in our JAGRD family group, which we've just hit the 1,000 in our group, which is wonderful to see all those people come in and love Woodfired as much as what we do and share it.
Yeah, so it's wonderful. Yeah, that's one of my favorite groups on Facebook, actually. It's so friendly and down to earth, and there's none of the ego and the chest beating that goes on in a lot of other barbecue groups. So it's just a really nice place to hang out and just talk about barbecue.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to be able to do that free is really nice, really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Look, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. So I'm going to say thanks very much for coming on board the show. I realise it's a really busy weekend for you, so I do appreciate you taking the time out of your long weekend, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yeah, you too, Ben. Thanks heaps.
Alrighty, family, there you have it. That was the one and only Julianne Tindall-Davies from JAGRD. What a powerhouse of a lady of barbecue. And as someone wrote in the comments there, where is it here? I'll bring it back up on the screen. The First Lady of BBQ. There you go. Everybody needs a barbecue nickname. I think we'll put that down there. I can see Jules in the green room there. I think she's just wiping a tear from her eye as I just put that up on the screen there. So, the First Lady of BBQ. There you are, Jules. That's your barbecue nickname now. So there it is. She's running all those competitions now as well. The Smokin Charity competitions. Of course, the smokers are still being manufactured. There's new designs on the way. Award-nominated and winning designs, and they're put to good use, and they win the trophies using the smokers that they build. So fantastic gear. Check them out, jagrdwoodfired.com.au. Keep Barbicon in the front of your memory because that's coming up soon, and grab some of that beautiful, lovely merch over at smokinghotconfessions.com/shop. We would love you forever. Now that is all there is for today. So until next time, take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.